Baba Is You is a very unique puzzle game, as you, the player, make up the rules, and what is said on screen, it is what is done, and pretty much what the rules are. But you can change the rules by changing up the words of the rules, as the phrase Baba is you are Baba. So you're this little sheep guy, but if you mess around with that, you can also be different objects, like a flag, a rock, a wall, lava, water, whatever, and that you can be. But you can also be nothing. You could literally be just nothing. Because if you mess with the sentence and it's not a complete sentence at all, you are nothing. And because the phrase Baba is you does not exist anymore because it gets interrupted. And so you are able to kind of move around and change up these rules with the words that are available to you. But it's also important for the positioning of the words and the other objects that are around you, as they can move as well and mess around with the words, and also the phrases itself. Just like some levels have the text floating, it can mess around with how you interact with the level. There's also phrases that will be up in the corner, which are kind of permanent and you can't really mess with them too much, but you can always do it either horizontally or vertically as the sentence. So it doesn't just have to be horizontally, it can also be vertically as well. So even though a phrase could be stuck in the corner, you can mess around with it and put in something else that is going vertical. And things like that makes this game pretty unique and cool, and really makes you think outside the box, and it's a very unique and cool type of puzzle game at its finest. And it's a pretty tough and long one, it is, as even though it's $15, it's definitely worth it. And I do have to admit, it was worth the $15 because it's like a 20-hour game. I spent 20 hours in the game, if not even more, going through all the levels and seeing all the new aspects that it adds, as each world in the hub world is new mechanics. Like one world will introduce the word not, where it'll be like not Baba is you, so everything that's not Baba is you. So literally everything else but Baba is you. So things like that are added into the game, as long as there'll be a world that focuses on tele, which teleports you, or words, and there'll be one that focuses on the word sync, where there'll be things that you can sync, and then there'll be a world that focuses on text, where text will be like melt or sync, and other words get kind of added to these different worlds, and they kind of get kind of referenced in the later worlds and mix in with the new elements that are in the newer worlds, if that makes any sense. It's really cool how they do it, as they kind of introduce you the basics at first, kind of having these small little levels, and then later on they complicate the things and make things a little bit harder. And like I said before, this game is pretty hard. I had to look up some of the solutions here and there, but not every level is required to beat the game. I went for the true ending, which you had to go through the bonus worlds, which was the meta, which is a really tough world, honestly, and really blew my mind, honestly. There was a lot of cool things in there that made me say, oh, that's really clever, because there's a lot of clever things in this game as well. And honestly, it was just a lot of fun, and you don't have to do the true ending. I think you can get away with beating the first 4 worlds and get the normal ending, I guess. and it can be a short game or it can be a long game, depending on if you like it or not, I guess, and how much you're willing to get through. And even the hub world itself has its rules, and it was really cool seeing how the hub world actually allowed you to kind of have its own puzzle as well. So not only do the levels have puzzles, the hub world itself has its own rules and puzzles, as you'll see, especially in the meta. It's a really tough world with a lot of rules to it that you have to mess around in order to get to the next level. So not only do you have to worry about beating levels, you also have to worry about getting to the next level, because it's also a puzzle. And it's really cool how they do that. But yeah, I really like this game, and I definitely recommend giving it a shot. It's definitely very fun and definitely worth the $15, like I said before. And like I said, I spent like 20 hours into the game, and not all the levels are required, as there'll be like worlds that there'll be like, let's say 6 levels, and then the requirement to get the flower, which is kind of required to get to the next world, would be like 4. So you need like 4 seeds, which you get a seed for beating every level. And like those 4 seeds is to beat the area, but there are 6 levels, so you don't have to do 2 of the levels if they're too tough for you or you can't figure them out. There's also extra levels as well that add to it. So sometimes there'll be like an extra level to level 2 or an extra level 3, which kind of take away a word or put in a little object or mess around with the level in some way to make it just more difficult. So maybe they'll take away the word is or something like that in one of the phrases, so it makes the puzzle just a little bit more difficult, so that you have to kind of rethink things and kind of look it over. And there is a lot of thinking involved to this game, as it is very hard, like I said before. There are a lot of times where I just sat there and just stared at the screen, honestly, just thinking of the different possibilities and what everything did, and looking at all the rules and looking at all the placements, because a lot of this game is really placement and kind of sentence structure. And once you kind of figure that out, you're pretty much good, and you're able to make the win condition a possibility. And that's what I kind of like about this game. It's, a lot of people say it's like visual coding, and it kind of is like that. And I feel like if you are kind of interested in coding or even like computer science like I am, this is definitely a great game to play, because it will kind of show you a good example of coding and kind of the visuals of coding. And I feel like it would definitely help someone that is interested or even is coding, as it definitely does have a lot of resemblance to coding. And other than that, it's just a lot of fun, and each level, like I said, something new to it. And I feel like there wasn't like one level, or like there wasn't like a handful of levels that were not even remotely close to each other. They were all very different from each other, and they were all like, I had to think through them. Like there was very few levels, mainly they were in the beginning though, that I just like, oh, this is the answer, boom, I'm done. But there's most of the levels are kind of just you taking your time, looking at the situation, looking at what everything does, looking at what you can do and what you can't do, looking at the win condition, and trying to figure out how to make that win condition possible. And so that's pretty much the base of this game. It's just a lot of thinking, a lot of complicated stuff, and through and through, it was just a lot of fun for me, honestly. I had a lot of fun just going through levels and how there were so many of them, and just every world had a new concept, and even the hub world itself was a puzzle to get to each and every next world or level. So yeah, overall though, I feel like this is a great game. If you haven't played it, definitely recommend it. Definitely worth your money as well, as it's like a 20-hour game for only $15 with like 200 levels. It's just a lot of content, and definitely worth it. So yeah, that's what I think. If I were to give this a rating, probably give this game an 8.5 out of 10. Very clever, very cool puzzle game, and honestly recommend it to anyone who has Switch, or even I think PC. Don't know if it's on any other consoles. I played it on Switch. But yeah, so thank you guys all for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more reviews right here on Town Nick. Bye.